Hello, I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be having a chat with Ava Kurtz-Fancy about the item on view here, which is called the Blue Kimono, and it is a very miniature painting, unlike some of the other paintings we discussed, which are big and they kind of take up a lot of space. What is the significance of such miniature paintings?
Let me ask you a question, which is if you wanted to remember somebody in your family, your mother, your father, how would you keep their image in your mind? What would you use to do that today?
Well, I would probably use a phone or a camera or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that in those older times, then you would just use kind of like a little portrait, like you paint it, and that would be how you remember them.
Yes, and so that's exactly what miniature paintings come from. Before the invention of photography, you needed a painting to record the image of somebody that you loved, and so that you could keep these pictures close and even wear them as jewelry. Often they were made very small, when photography is invented in the late 1830s, miniature painting gradually sort of goes away. But then close to the turn of the century, the turn of the 20th century, artists rediscover miniature painting. So they still had photography, but they wanted to go back and kind of experience the romance of these earlier portraits. So they started painting them again. And the Blue Kimono is a picture that is from this later time period when artists returned to miniature painting. So it's actually bigger than some miniatures, some of which were very, very small. It's a big miniature.
Yeah.
And it has a lot going on in the background. The artist painted it as a picture of her sister, who was the model, and she's shown wearing a beautiful blue silk kimono. And you can also see other Japanese art in the background behind her. So in these later miniatures, they often put in a kind of setting where you can see the room, not just the person. And Lydia Longacre is the artist. She was part of the group that gathered at Florence Griswold's boarding house. And people often ask, how did artists paint miniatures? They talk about them having paintbrushes that had a single hair in them. And that's a little bit of a myth. And one of the ways that we can help show people that is through the paint box that Lydia Longacre used, which we also have on display here. It's a small paint box. Everything in it is smaller for painting miniatures. There are little tiny tubes and cakes of paint and a little tiny palette, but her paintbrush has a number of hairs in it. And she had to work hard. These were painted on ivory miniatures, and that's a very slick surface, so she would have to work hard and kind of rough up the surface of the ivory to get the watercolors to stick on there. But it's really a beautiful surface, very luminous for creating portraits.
Well, I love that you use the painting to remember something instead of an actual photograph or something like that, because even though you probably could take pictures in that time when this was painted, this is a lot more personal and unique because the artist, of course, nobody can paint a painting just like the artist did, and it's their unique style.
And it would be very special to have a picture that your sister painted, or this was painted by one sister of another, so that would make it even more special to cherish.